fit us all with some losses. Incarcerated bosses. Learn from mistakes, then we all win. Now life looking flawless. We got Felicia, Latoya, and Star Austin. Incarcerated bosses. Learn from mistakes, but we gon' win. We live on Vent Radio.
Hey, Anthony.
I need some bubble gum.
Well, hello, Felicia.
Let me get one.
Oh, hi. Welcome to Vent Radio. Incarceration of Boss. Incarceration of Boss. Today we are going to talk about... first let's introduce ourselves.
Okay.
I'm Felicia.
I'm Tracy.
I'm Latoya.
And I'm Tammy.
Okay, this is your...
Tammy hasn't been to prison.
Tammy's never been in prison like the rest of us.
It's the only one.
God.
A couple weeks ago, we had a gentleman call and asked us about the CARES Act. We weren't too familiar with anything about the CARES Act, so we did do a little research. So we're going to talk about the CARES Act, the First Step Act, our DAP program. Basically, all these programs are programs to cut your time while you are incarcerated.
Federal.
So, federal time. We still working on TIS in Michigan. It's a lot of things going around about that. Don't get off into that, though.
Oh, my God.
And, Tracy, we also wanted to talk about, what else?
Detroit at work.
Detroit at work. People who have opportunities for ex-felons. Okay.
I'm representing Horatio Williams Foundation tonight.
We all are.
We all got on gear. Horatio Williams Foundation does a lot for Detroit and just Michigan area.
Shout out Horatio.
Yes.
Yep. Shout out to
Hey,
Horatio.
boss.
So we are going to start off with the First Step Act. You ladies want to start off with the First Step Act?
I want to start off with food. Should have ate probably.
That's what I always get hungry around.
One of the gentleman's questions was that he was incarcerated and he was rejected the CARES Act program because of a felony. He was in federal prison, but a felony or a misdemeanor or a misconduct he had in state prison. Now, when we did a little reading on this, it does say that you need to have a clear disciplinary record. And it didn't specify how far back or if it was with federal prison, state prison, or what. So that's where the lines get blurry, and that's when the powers that be are able to make the decisions that they make depending on how they feel that day. Because it wasn't anything specific about how far they could go back, or is it your state record, is it your federal record, any of that. So he was really upset about it, them going back to his federal record. But when you're trying to get some kind of action, you have to keep that record clear. You have to be like Tracy. She never got a ticket in prison, so she eligible for everything.
That would have been me.
So
Yeah, it would have been you, Tammy.
no, it wouldn't have been.
It would have been you, Tammy.
No ticket.
So the website you sent me to was White Collar Advice. You sent me these guys, and one of the things you just talked about was to create a good record. So you never know when the laws are going to change, or something like COVID might happen, or some type of policy might happen. So if you're in prison, you need to keep that in mind, because they're going to go by your prison record. They're not going to hit too much up on your past unless it's really bad. They're going to hit up on what you did in prison. So make sure you keep that in mind, if that'll keep you together sometimes, because you never know when truth and sentencing might pass, or they might have another early release because of overcrowding, or just any type of reason that somebody could come in, the president or a governor, and want to release prisoners. So if you usually be at the top of that list if you have a good prison.
You have a good prison.
Now I did see where President Trump was releasing people, but how is that? So you have to have a non-violent case to be released from COVID, or is that something? Or who are the people that can be released? Is it a certain individual?
No, because the president has pardon and commutation powers that doesn't limit to him to what type of case.
Right.
But
So you can be a
Well, if you
you
obese,
could be a murderer.
Yeah.
Okay.
like,
You hear Toya?
if you obese
go.
or
Here she
things
go.
like that,
Here she go.
because I'm
Here she go.
I'm what you call it? I'm an example because they let me out.
Okay.
You know, I'm an
was just
example.
wondering.
They let me out of prison. I wrote the judge a letter, compassionate release.
Yep.
It was the immediate release. Wrote the judge a letter, asked for compassionate release. I was overweighted, 180 pounds.
Are you serious now? Because I'm
Yeah.
laughing like you wasn't serious. I was
Yeah,
like,
serious.
here she go.
180 pounds. I had low iron. You know, that could cause me to
So
catch
you were
COVID.
susceptible to get COVID.
Yeah, I could catch COVID
Okay.
easily for being anemic. So that's something that they take serious.
So yeah, it was the difference between the CARES Act and the compassionate release. Yours was compassionate release
Yeah.
because you went to the judge.
Yeah.
Now the CARES Act, I understand you have to. It's an administrative remedy where you have to go through the warden of the prison.
Yeah.
And they make you can't go to the judge.
Well, they
So
made
the
us do that
warden
too.
and-
We had to do that too.
It was
okay.
the warden and your counselor.
yeah,
But
yeah.
And
I
your
still
case
went over the
counselor,
warden
Case
because
manager.
It did say for the CARES Act that you really have to be proactive because they're not just going to give it to you.
Right.
You have to be consistent. And when they get it, they have 30 days.
Yeah.
But after that 30 days, you can go to your judge.
and it's something that you need to address too because I feel like it was a computer. I felt like that the warden wasn't even reading what I wrote.
He
to
don't
them.
have to. He don't have to.
Well, they still
but they
responded
only
like they
have a
did.
certain amount of time to respond. So
Well, they responded like they read it, so that's false advertisement. Like
Well,
your notes have been what they type it. They noted as like your concerns have been addressed or something like that. But they never even took the time out to read it because
but how you know?
Because I know.
You're out.
Yeah.
Right.
No, the judge let me out, so I went over the warden.
Oh, well.
yeah.
Somebody read it that.
Yeah, I went to the judge, to the courts, not the prison. But we supposed to go to the prisons. They supposed to let us out. We
Yeah,
we're supposed
it's-
to get permissions from the prison to see if we qualify, if we've been doing good, But the judge go look at all of that anyway, see if you've been doing good in the prisons. So I program like RDAP, things like that, like she said.
Hey, Bianca.
It's all about what you're doing good.
It was a book that the guys on this white collar
Call in with your
advice-
questions.
This white collar advice people, they have a free book called Earning Freedom through their website, whitecollaradvice.com, and they said you can order this book for free. So it's for the federal, but a lot of tips you can also use for the state, but specifically it's for federal prisoners. So I think that's cool. Anything free that's helpful.
Period.
Yeah.
When you say anything, what do you mean?
Anything like this book is free. So
Okay.
anything that anybody offers for free and it's helpful, that's just a
Right.
plus.
So what other resources do they give you guys for free? Like
That was on somebody's website
Mhm.
that Felicia had sent me.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything for
You
free.
you kind of have to search for stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's not really advertised.
okay.
So, depending on what kind of person and how adamant you are about finding information about what you're trying to do, that's how you can find free resources. That's how you find resources to anything.
What anything?
You
Yeah,
got
that's
to
true.
network.
You
but
have to network.
You shouldn't have to do that with the limitations you have as a prisoner when you don't have access to the internet and you might not have anybody at home, because that's usually the person that would have to research for you and send you information would be some support person at home, and most people don't have that. So you don't have anybody. I just wanted somebody. They were like, "You want money or something?" Like, no, I need you to go on the internet and look this up for me. Like, I don't want nothing. I need this information.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge within itself. When somebody
Yeah.
call from prison and be like, "Hey, can you do this?" Or it's not that you don't want to help. It's for me personally. It's just like people have. People have they own
People have
lives. Like for real. I'm serious. I got like two people. Like I have my cousin, the one that I told you that I want to look at his case. He's been in there for 30 years. I have to go over it, but I will give you the paper for you to
Yeah.
just go over the information. And then, my brother is in there.
Yeah.
So, I've never, the easiest thing I would say for somebody, they did JPay and that Connect network, make it easy for you to talk to people. Because if I had to write a letter, no one probably would ever get a letter, just because it's just easy to just be able to go on there. It's like a text and easy, simple.
And how often do you JPay your people?
All the time.
Do you? That's
Yep,
good.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yep, I keep money on the phone for them and stuff
what's
like
up.
that. They wear it out,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but then they want you to do, like, me personally, like, with my brother into this rap world, like, he wants me to help do things that I'm not, I know nothing about or interested in learning.
Okay.
And I think that's a lot of it, that I think people get bent out of shape when they're locked up, and you don't want to help in the areas that, it's not that you don't want to, it's just that if you're busy and you got your own life, I think that it's just kind of hard to try to maneuver all of that.
Tell me that you're busy, and don't tell me that you're gonna do it.
I do.
You know what I'm saying? Some people
Exactly.
tell you they're gonna do it, and then they don't do it.
Yeah,
and that's
and
where the
that's me.
frustration comes in. Because
Yep.
I'd rather you be like, Tracy, I am busy as
Yep.
hell, and I'd be like, oh God, people do have a life out there. But
Yeah.
if you tell me I'm gonna do it, then I'm upset
Yeah.
that you didn't do it, and I
Yeah.
think you don't love me, you don't care about me. We
all
go
right.
there.
When you gonna go there like
we
you don't
do,
love
we
you?
do.
Get
We
outta
do.
here.
People say stuff like, well, I didn't get a JPay today. Nobody loves me.
So do
People
you
say that
guys
all
want
the time.
JPays every day? Because I think if I was locked up, I don't think I would want to talk to someone every day.
My mom sent me a joke every day when JPay first started. From the first day, she sent
Really?
me a joke.
Yeah,
They
you look
was
forward to that.
corny,
You come
yeah,
outside,
yeah.
you want to come in and look at read a JPEG.
So I mean, but okay. So let me ask you this: so if you want that every day, but did you talk to these people every
We
day?
didn't have to. They JPayed you.
No. I mean, in the outside world, like I just look at
My
situations.
mom, who gave birth to me, yeah.
Yeah, but even with your mom, she got a life. But I just think, like, okay, let me use my brother for example. He lived out of the state. Like, we didn't talk every single day when he was gone. So I wouldn't expect for him to blow my phone up every single day. Like, I don't want to
It
talk.
might not be some.
I don't want to talk to nobody every day. That's just me personally.
You
I
might
don't
be in
like on
another
the
kind of
phone.
relationship, and you might want to talk to somebody else every day. Might not be your brother, but say for instance your significant other.
I don't even want to talk to him every day.
I'm saying that now, but
Did you hear that, fiance?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to talk to him
Like,
every
you
day.
getting mad like, oh,
Why would he be mad? I'm working. If you working and you busy, like, they should understand that you have a life outside. Who gonna pay the bills? If I'm on the phone with you, that's accumulating bills. I mean, if you by yourself, if you're by yourself and you're paying all the bills and you're working,
But that's what people be at home thinking and saying, and people in prison don't understand that. Because
Well,
you're in prison, and
but
you're
you
lonely,
understand it when
and
you're
looking
out.
forward to that phone call. You wonder why you ain't got time to talk to me. You wonder why you ain't wrote no letter. You wondering this, you wondering that. Because when you're in prison, you got too much time on your hands.
So
you
now you
wondering,
see,
wondering,
right?
wondering. You know.
but you see, right? Because even
Yeah,
with
'cause
you
I know.
yourself, like, can you do this?
But no,
Can you
some
do
people
that?
got time to do. Some people got a life in prison too, though. Like they got stuff to do, go to school and doing something productive with
That would
themselves.
be us.
I'm just saying, some people do stuff with
Sure.
themselves. Some
Yeah.
people just sitting around with nothing to do,
I
just
don't
dwelling
mind.
on stuff, you know. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't be me sitting there waiting on them, you know, dwelling.
But
Not
I'm
me.
like
But you
you,
get some
Tammy.
people who do.
I would think if the tables was turned, how would I be? And I probably wouldn't be the best person either on the outside. So
I know that I
so I'm
wasn't.
not really mad at people a lot.
I'm
not
not
too
either.
much, you know.
That's why I say
I
it's
didn't
different
care.
strokes for different folks. It depends
Yeah,
on who it is.
not too much.
What you say
I
about
did.
this, Glenn?
My dad called. I talked to him.
I mean,
I talked to
As long
Glenn.
as you- as long as the people be supportive,
I mean,
I
I
think
can
that
really-
that's
Yeah, I'm supportive, but I'm
Better
just
than
saying
nothing.
every day, like,
that's too much. You ain't got to be.
you
doing
know,
all
you
that
got
every day.
like I got 3 different people calling my phone. They eat that up so fast. I mean, call at least a couple times a week. Don't call me every single day, because
Right.
that $25 run out. Like, if I got bill, I got taxes, I got water bills. If you're by yourself and you're doing all of this, like, and then you trying to take care of somebody in prison, that's hard.
Yeah.
You know what
you're
I'm saying?
is reality.
Yeah.
But it's also a reality that the person who is incarcerated don't have those things to worry about in terms of paying bills and
Exactly.
stuff like that. But they figure, like, because you're in the free world, that, hey, that's just par for the course. Now, with my own kid, it's like, she's just not the needy type.
Right.
She never.
No, I'm not.
She never has been.
Right.
But some people, and that's not to say that other people that do are needy. That's just people move how they move. People move differently. Some people couldn't get through a prison bit without talking to they loved ones. You know what I mean? Some people once a month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my own experience with in terms of her being away was, if she really needed something, then she called and tell you.
Right.
Other than that, it was like. But even before she got to the penitentiary, I mean, even fighting her case, it was like, hey, Dad, I got myself in this. And that was that. We dealt with it as best we could.
Right.
But
Well, that's how she always. That's the fee that I know.
Right. I did it. So.
We always. I don't even want to tell about the bar situation.
Oh,
Like we always had our.
I already know about the bar situation.
No, the guys used to always want to try to buy our drinks, and we always like we got our. We got this because when most of the time guys they want to buy drinks, they don't know how to leave. Like you don't know how to tell somebody in a nice way that you're not interested, or well you could tell them, but then it's just like
Now that happened in the middle. That happened after the first case, right? Right before the second case.
you telling everybody how many?
It's public record, sweetheart.
she a serial killer.
No.
She's a good
I'm
girl.
retired. Thank you, Dad.
A retired serial killer.
Nah.
Well, the thing of it is that we get opportunity to redeem ourselves, whatever we got caught up in.
I did. I'm remorseful for the things I did. So.
Yeah, and also
Really?
you got to
I'm
look
just
at it. That was
starting
almost
over.
20 years
That's the
ago.
first time I heard you say that, sweetheart.
Yeah, I've said it 100 times because I used to teach, so I used to have to say it over and over and over.
I've heard you
So
say it.
it's really the truth, though. So,
Yeah.
it was a lesson. I came out better because Lord knows.
And that's funny how you could, and I mean that's great advice, because you can be right up in the house with your kid, thinking knowing what's going on in their lives,
Exactly.
and you really don't.
And it's even harder with social media. I can imagine. I can't even imagine being a parent right now with social media.
You
It's
are a
just an
parent
extra
and
layer of.
and a grandparent.
Yeah, but Granny can back away. I didn't abandon my grandma. My grandma duties already. But yeah, it's harder probably with social media. Yeah, I did.
Let me ask you guys this: in terms of people feeling down when they can't communicate with their loved ones or significant others, does that cause problems inside the facility? Because a person may be having a good day because they didn't get that J-pay, or does that cause problems within the inmates?
Let's ask some of the inmates, ex-offenders.
Call in. For me, before I went to prison, some old heads told me, don't use that phone. That phone gonna tear you up when you get on that phone, and then you're gonna get off and you're gonna want to kill somebody. And so I did see that at first, because I was using the phone a lot at first, and I get off the phone, you call home and you expect to vent to them about prison, but at the same time they having their issues and their drama going on outside of prison. So a lot of times you don't even get a chance to even say what your problem is, because it's automatically this happened, and then when you get off the phone you have like an attitude, or you like mad and don't say nothing to you because you're trying to process what you was told on that phone, and it's nothing you can do. That's almost the most frustrating thing. Somebody died, you can't go, it's nothing you can do, you can't help, you can't do nothing. So you grieving by yourself, and other people that's in prison don't respect that, So it is difficult, dealing on the outside. A lot of people try to run life on the outside while you're on the inside. Yeah. It's just it's frustrating. You'll frustrate yourself. Yeah, that's my cousin. He literally just told me that. He said that he had to basically let go of everybody. Like because you can't. He said exactly what you just said. Like you can't be in there trying to live
with the people on the outside. He's like, because you will drive yourself crazy. You know, and I just asked him, like, you know, he's been there 30 years since he's been 15. And
That's sad.
so that's the case that I'm gonna have you to
because
look at.
what happened with him with Miller and all of this juvenile stuff? He didn't get in.
I don't know.
He has life, or he has a number of years.
He had on his thing it says life.
Any other cases? Like
it was just that one.
life sentence.
Wow, somebody should be filing a motion for him to.
They
Yeah.
really should.
Yep. So but I have the paperwork, so I'll go
Yeah.
over it and stuff with you. And you know,
Is he state or federal?
he state.
Yeah, he's supposed
in
to be.
Michigan.
Yeah, he's in Michigan.
Wow.
He's in Chippewa.
Yeah, because didn't they pass some kind of law for
It wasn't
Yeah.
a law. It was
youth
a
life
case.
or
It was case law in the United States Supreme Court that
Yeah.
covered, you know,
Yep.
juvenile cases, that life wasn't automatic and they can still sentence them to life, but they have to take into consideration their juvenile mental capacity at the time
Yeah,
they
'cause
committed
I had
the
a
crime.
friend come home that
Yeah.
had life as a juvenile.
Yeah.
He came home. He came home right before you came home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tammy.
Yeah, he said that they tried him on a case that wasn't even his, but they still gave him the time.
The conviction is the conviction at a certain point, but now that they have case law that has been made retroactive, where they can apply it to older cases or whatever the case may be. If you was a juvenile, you should appeal to the court to get your
Most definitely.
especially after 30.
Yeah.
I kind of understand what Tammy was saying though, in terms of just imagining how you would be if you were had a problem like that. Because when I was fighting my case, I didn't want any of my family members in the courtroom.
No, me either. I know.
So I you know, I think people probably say sometimes, well, you don't know what it is to be locked up, but you know yourself. You know what I mean? And some people just don't want to put that burden on other people. I wouldn't, I wouldn't have wanted my kids to hear all the shit they were saying in there.
Yeah, I know because it's hard, you know, because like when I was in there with her case, and like I didn't know they went off of months. Like first they was like 350 months. I'm like 350 months. What is 350 months?
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
A long time.
Yeah, and I'm in there like trying to process it, like 350 months. Well, how many? You know what I'm saying? Like that sounds like a lot. You know, so
My man.
So getting back to that, I was just thinking about this. Me and Felicia was talking about it. The CARES Act. Some people are opposing those people that got out to staying out. So they saying like COVID is over, time for them to go back.
What?
I seen that.
Yeah, she sent me some articles about some politicians were campaigning saying that the president and everybody was overreaching in the law because the law doesn't say they get to stay home. It says it was a pandemic emergency, so they feel like just for the life of the pandemic they should be out, and then they should go back after the pandemic is declared over.
Okay, so if they
That's
do that,
crazy.
It's those blurry lines that they
right?
do.
So, but if they do that, are they starting the case from? Let's just say you got 10 years and you're out 2 for COVID, so you've already done 5. So is that 2 years that you're
Is it
home?
dead time? They didn't.
Yeah,
They didn't say. They're just opposing that these people stay out. I didn't read any details about that, but those people wrote letters to the president, the Department of Justice.
Wow, what happens if somebody come home and really like try to change their life and get a good job and just on the right path? So you just
They're
gotta
just
go
saying
back.
we don't care who you are.
Right.
If you got out during COVID for COVID reasons, we want your ass back.
immediately.
Right.
Wow.
And who knows if that's dead time. It was a few articles.
Is that
she
federal
sent me.
or
federal?
state? Oh.
The state doesn't come under CARES Act.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were trying to look for any kind of remedy that would allow state prisoners to leave during COVID.
Yeah.
And it's
Nobody's
Nothing.
motion got granted.
No, they could care less about state prisoners.
Oh,
Well, let
okay.
me not say that. I don't want to say that because I don't know what but they don't have any remedies like the federal facilities have. So that's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And we have some very sick ladies in We know a lot of people who died
From COVID?
from COVID. From COVID.
I just found a clip why the CARES Act doesn't care about you. See what this guy had to say.
Did you know that your favorite productivity solutions are free for eligible nonprofits? Microsoft 365.
One more time, the CARES Act didn't care. It's an oxymoron. It had so many unintended consequences and such poor implementation. But when you hear Ronald Reagan used to say it, some of the scariest words on the planet is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
Right.
If that doesn't scare your socks off, nothing will, because they're going to screw up Christmas. I mean, they're unbelievable. It's the island of misfit toys up there. So the CARES Act, of course, was supposed to stop student loan interest and collection of student loan payments until September to give people a break due to coronavirus suppression and economic shutdowns and all that kind of stuff. And it has not worked out that way.
It hasn't worked out. So they've stopped the interest, Dave, but they're still reporting to the credit reporting agencies that people are delinquent. Now, this is not every single company, but a lot of the companies out there are still reporting negative. And on top of that, Dave, they're still pulling money from their checks, from their bank accounts.
So if you had a deal set up where you were having your account drafted because you were in default, they didn't stop that.
Nope. They were supposed to stop that.
And if you didn't pay because you weren't supposed to pay under CARES Act, there's a chance that a reasonably good chance that you're being reported as not as being delinquent.
Yes.
You're getting negative dings on your credit bureau report. So if you have
So what's the point?
That had to do with the student loan, because you know the CARES Act, it was all COVID related stuff, so it was not
So
just
CARES Act is just not for prison. It's
no,
for
it was
loans.
umbrella
it's just
stuff, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Money to small businesses.
CARES Act, First Step Act, early release from federal prison. So it was a whole, like a bundle
package. Of different ways that money to state governments, money to federal governments, money for small businesses. Relief. The mortgage thing came under that.
So did if you know, did the prisons actually get money for like people who they gave the CARES Act to? Did the prison, was they compensated in some kind of way by the federal government?
I don't know, but I don't think so. I think their compensation was just one less head to take care of.
And the first step that Trump signed was a re-entry type of thing. So it was after you got out of prison. He pushed a lot of money towards that. So,
yeah,
good question.
That is a good question. We have to see about that.
No more research on kids.
No more research.
So let me ask you. So what is your ladies' agenda as far as helping the people in the areas that we're discussing today? What is it you yourself can do to help in those areas? Like if somebody was to reach out right now and inbox us on the Incarcerated to Boss and ask you, what is it that you plan to do yourself to help or engage? Are you leading them to the right direction? Are you like filing paperwork for them, or like how does this go?
So the most helpful people for me were the Detroit at Work. They come under Michigan Works. They had training, they had jobs, they had laptops that they would give out, gift cards, help you get any type of credential you need as far as birth certificate, identification. So the problem, I think I said it last time, the lady said it was not about a lack of having resources, it was the lack of people who came to get the resources consistently and for whatever reason wasn't taking advantage of them. So I really don't hear too many people, and when I went there it wasn't crowded, or a lot of people. So sometimes when they say there's no resources, what are you doing proactively to seek out the resources?
So that's not something. So I know that a lot of reporting, far as you reporting to your probation officer, are they reporting or are they coming to your homes? Because isn't that information that they could probably put up inside of the probation facility for people that need that type of help?
So when you get out of prison, it's parole.
Parole,
Yeah,
okay.
and so since COVID, the office had been closed. I think it's just now opening back up.
Okay.
So my first meeting with my parole officer was on the curb of where I stay out in the street.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was no reporting. They don't come in the houses because of COVID, so they don't do really house checks. They just see if it's a house there, basically.
Yeah.
So it's just different now. I got out. Was it COVID when you got out too?
The very height of
The very
Yeah.
beginning. So we haven't
just-
experienced
Yeah, 'cause I heard
a
you from the
regular. Right. Right. We haven't experienced the way it normally operates yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can't say too much. I know I drunk a bunch of water to drop, and they don't even drop you. They stick the sponge in your mouth. And I'm like, I gotta pee. And you have me drink all this water thinking I gotta drop. And
Well,
it's-
that's.
they
I
shouldn't
think
even
that's
call it
something.
drop.
I think that's something that that they should do. You want the society to get better jobs helping out, because usually criminals go back to jail most of the time because they don't have those resources or able to get a job. So I think like the parole officers should do things like have a package ready with that available information in there.
They do provide most people with I was a commutation, so it was a little different. I didn't come on the regular caseload as a parolee. But they do have packages and stuff. But people don't
read.
access it.
They don't use
They don't read. They don't use it. They don't follow up.
Maybe
It's
they think
not
it really
for-
don't
And right
work.
now, we can't say too much about not being able to get a job.
Yeah.
It's just not too much you can say about I can't get a job at the $16, $15 range starting out. Because I seen White Castles. In my White Castles, $15 an hour, White Castle.
Burger King,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got good benefits.
Benefits
I used to work at White
corporation.
Castle when I was in the 10th grade.
So, yeah, to say that you can't get a job or stuff like that is kind of like weak now to say that. You know,
It's the type of job that they probably
it doesn't
don't
matter.
want. Yeah.
When you get out,
Money.
you should be humble. Even in life, you should be humble. If you need money, you need money.
That's
and
right.
you need to be able to work at whatever level to get. You might want to be somewhere one day and own that McDonald's, but do the fries right now and get you a check and take care of yourself. So
That's true.
work yourself up to milkshakes and.
At your age, would you have taken a job?
I would
like that?
definitely have. I have a nonprofit job right now, working for a nonprofit. And okay, but that's not a good example because I got an office. With
I was about to.
Right, she got a nice
I
office with a
object.
bathroom. I want to go take a shower in her bathroom. I'm ready to fix it up, put flowers
Maybe
on
that
it.
wasn't a good example.
Right.
I was willing to, when I left prison, to do whatever.
You have a shower.
Go
in
back
your
to
office?
Players on 8
She has a
Mile
shower
and
in her office.
have
You haven't
the
been up there?
waitress.
Yeah, I've been up there.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to check me out too.
That's funny.
But I am willing to, and I really do want another job besides the one I have. But what I'm doing now with the foundation is setting up workshops for youth. My curriculum for domestic violence. Me and Felicia going to work on etiquette again. Even though it doesn't pay a lot to do these workshops, I think it's just
Something
good
to do to help.
Something to do
I
to
know, I
help.
You have
love
to be a
teaching the
blessing.
girls
Yeah, to
etiquette.
To others.
Yeah.
To be a blessing. To get a
There went the
blessing back.
radio show.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What happened? Please.
There went the radio show.
So Tracy, would you had to worked at a White Castles, or you Felicia or Mama Grizzly? Would you guys?
I thought
have
I was
work?
about to work for my granddaughter. She was assistant manager at like 16. I said, I'll go down there and work for her. You know, like, I don't care.
Would you have to work like at a White Castles, Burger King? Because I said that all three of us should go for the application at the same one.
Car wash.
Oh, you did? Right.
The car wash. They was paying $6 an hour, but the tips was good. You know what I'm saying? So, tips and something better than that. You know, I'm starting from
So
the
I
ground
said,
up. But
those are
$90 a
requirements.
month. I was getting $90 a month in prison, so anything out here now is good. And I never had a job before.
That's
so
humble.
Work is good.
Yeah.
You know?
That's being
and
humble.
from our dad, my DTSs would love what I'm doing right now. It's called struggling going over grandiosity, you know, something that they didn't think that I would do, you know, something like working. So
Yeah.
I'm doing that today.
Showk and humble person.
I said,
Yes, I am humble, and yes, I am working.
So Tui, we had experience this week because you had called me and I had just talked to this guy. He does a lot of reentry jobs. And so that day that Toya called me, that I had just met with the guy the day before Mario. And Toya went to work that day, that
Mr.
night.
Kelly,
Yeah, she went to work.
It's the guy 313.
Yeah.
313 Believe, Mr. Kelly. Yes, it's the guy. He's hiring people. A lot of youth actually. I know the guy he's hiring. Actually, I'm looking for people. Actually, I got a a supervising job. I was working one day. Actually,
she worked one day and
one day
they
and
loved her.
They liked me. I was working hard.
Yeah.
And you know, got a position with a supervising job. Supervisor.
Supervisor
job. Yeah.
Who you supervising?
Down in Fort Field. A cleaning company, a cleaning crew.
Oh, okay.
And that little
Got hired the first day, then got a supervisor job within 24 hours.
I know she cleaned the hell out of that stuff.
Nobody even want to work. They don't have anyone to work. That's how bad it is. So they have all these jobs, but no one wants to work. So it's plenty of jobs.
It
out
said
here
that
in
the company
city,
again is
you guys.
313.
313 Believe. Yeah.
You hear that?
He's been doing it for years.
313 Believe. If anybody's looking for a job,
y'all
Fort
tap in
Field.
with,
Well, it's not just Fort Field.
okay.
He goes everywhere.
He all over here.
He's
He
everywhere. He has
it's a big
jobs
company.
everywhere.
So y'all got to do is go on the app.
Do they pay every
download.
night after the work day?
Huh?
Do they pay every night after the work day, or do they receive a weekly?
It's
Salary.
weekly. No, they don't pay every night. It's weekly.
Oh, I got to have that. I got to be paid every night.
So let me ask you, how does it feel to actually work a job versus what you did before?
Well, when I was at the car wash, like I said, I was getting tips. So that was every night. So the tips was good. So I was getting like $5 tips, $10 tips, and I worked there for about, how long was I out there, Felicia? About a week or two.
Yeah.
About a week or two, I was working for tips. Maybe 2 weeks. So the tips was good. I was making like maybe $50, $60 tips.
Per day?
Then I was getting every day. Every day I was coming home, maybe $60 in my pocket. Versus that was good because it was money in my pocket every day. Then I was getting a check. My checks was maybe like my first check was like $33. That wasn't much, but I got $60 worth of tips plus $33. That was $90 a day. You add that up a week, that's $500 a week. That's better than getting $90 a month. You know, you add that up. It was the start,
That's very true.
So that's me being humble. And then my next check was $135. So I didn't know I had two checks. So I had $135 check,
You had
a
hit the
$40
big
check,
time in that
plus
second
my
check.
tips. So I was doing something. I went to go open me up a bank account in Huntington Bank. Then I started me account. So I was starting off, and this is what I was doing. Then I found me another job. I was doing construction. I started picking up wood. I was getting $100 a day doing that, but I stopped doing that because it was too much for my back. I was figuring like I was a slave. I was like, slaves did all of this. Let me see if I could do it. Yes, y'all wouldn't believe how much wood I done picked up in one day. I said, I woke up the next day. I couldn't even get up and walk. I said, the man said it's not a job for me. I said, as long as you pay me, don't worry about what I do. But guess what? I woke up the next day. He was right. That's not a job for a female. So. But I did the work, you know what I'm saying? But I was a hard worker.
Yeah.
And, I took pictures of myself working and all of that. I'm coming home from prison, and I was out here working. I did the car wash job. I did the construction. And so now I got the job at Fort Field, Little Caesars, and, I'm still cleaning and I'm still working hard. Every day I'm working. So y'all could get out here. Y'all could work, too. And it's jobs out here.
Yes.
Isn't that a requirement for
all of y'all
your
who sitting out here who don't have no money in your pocket, waiting on self-employment, out here scamming and all doing the wrong things? It's work out here. Stack y'all money and y'all could be somebody. We coming home from prison, and I only been home a year, and I hope in the next 5 years, I own my own company, and y'all see us. Y'all go see our success.
You do have your own company.
Yes, I do have my own company, but I want to see my company build. I'm starting from the ground up, so I want to see my seed flourish, so y'all keep me, y'all stay tapped in. We gonna see what it do. And thanks to Tracy too, because I made one phone call and this lady helped me out. Somebody walked into her office the day before. Just so happened. That's how God works. A man walked into her office, talked to her and said, hey, somebody need a job? I just happened to call him. I need a job. Hey, she said, let me make this phone call him. Hey. He said, can you work tonight? I said, I sure can.
Yep.
Went to work and got a position because I cleaned so good. Because I'm serious about my work,
Probably
you know.
rub the leather off the seats.
Yeah, and also we doing music too, you know what I'm saying? We tapping in, you know, I'm talking to the artists out here. We doing some everything, you know.
And tell them because I listened to it. It was a couple of good people that had their music played on it.
Giuliano, I see him right here, Cut Giuliano. That's one of the
Okay.
artists. You know, we gonna be tapped in.
I remember that name
With,
too.
yeah, with Loose
Yeah.
Cannon.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Y'all stay tapped in. We got a lot.
That
of,
was
lot
cool
of,
that you guys are willing to expose people
yeah,
on
we
that
wanna expose
level.
y'all with
And
the beats, yeah.
yeah.
Here got music. It's a lot of talent out there, and we stay tuned.
And I noticed, what is it, Baby
Loose Cannon,
Glenn.
yeah, Baby
He
Glenn.
gives really good constructive
Criticism.
and encouragement.
Yep.
Not just
absolutely.
trying to just because I paid you to play my music, I'm gonna just tell you everything is good and stuff. Like
Right.
it was really
Yeah.
on point.
And that's what you
know,
need.
and helpful. Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah.
So I was like, that was really cool.
That's what we all here to help each other, y'all. That's what it's about.
She thought your brother was
Black
helpful.
excellence, women excellence. We're here to help everybody. We all got to stick together. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Building
Yeah,
kings and queens around here.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it's
Leadership.
it's a good vibe. I mean, you know what I mean. When you lived on the negative side, it's not hard to recognize the positive side. It's really not, and it's a lot more good going on than people want to speak about or say in public. But it's it's some people trying to do some good things around here.
Oh yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I have a coworker I want to mention. She's listening tonight, Alicia Hatcher.
Hi,
She
Alicia.
works for
Hi,
Horatio
Alicia.
Williams Foundation.
She's a
Her-
nice lady. I met
She
her.
is so sweet. She was incarcerated
I love
years ago
Alicia.
in the feds, and she went from incarcerated to boss. Truly, could be in the dictionary under incarcerated to boss because she owns her own trucking company now. Yes,
A lady at
she
that.
is a mentor to whoever wants
Yes.
help and stuff. Alicia's is like a person who you would just want to pattern after. Love you so much.
I just double that.
Yeah.
Felicia, I have
Hey,
a
Alicia.
comment for you
Yeah.
from Mr. Larry Whitfield, who also is a part of Vent Radio. He says, "Sir, I'm so impressed and humbled by your daughter's show." Well, it's their show. All the ladies that you see. Let's
Yes.
make that known.
Oh. But when it
And
comes
host,
on,
in this
and he would
together.
love
When
to
it comes
have
on, it
you
says
guys
Felicia died.
on his show. Basically, is what he's asking.
On his show? When is it?
He comes on Sundays.
yeah.
What's your time slot, Larry? Put it in the text. But yeah, absolutely. He interviewed you at the award ceremony.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was yeah. I
Yeah,
would love
so-
to.
She says she would love to, Larry. So you guys are all
All
grown.
of us,
Y'all work
yes.
it out.
Okay.
Send,
We gotta-
send me the check.
We'll be in touch, and the
Yeah.
check will bounce, and you just go about your way.
5 p.m. He comes on 5 p.m. Sundays.
5
So-
p.m. is- Okay.
So all you got to do, Larry, is send when you have an open slot for the ladies, and
Yeah.
leave me her number, or you and my daughter's number. This might be this might be some. No, I'm just kidding.
Where she lives
Okay,
at now.
I'll get the number to you, Larry. Don't even worry
Okay.
about it. You
Thanks
got
for
it.
the invite, Larry.
Yeah,
Appreciate
Alicia's really nice. I'm looking forward to doing some work down there too, as far as what we talked about with teaching some of the youths.
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah,
my skills
Tammy was
as
gonna
well.
do flower arrangements with the youth. and-
Balloons,
Yeah,
what
balloon
whatever.
arrangements. So I'm looking for Ladale Richmond, who tapped in last time, and I'm looking for Miss Tawana for women's empowerment.
Yeah,
Tap in.
I'll go back through the last one and see if I can find her.
Oh,
So
So
the concept
gotta write that
incarcerated the boss, Felicia.
Huh.
In your mind, exactly, just so the viewers, because some people look at the word boss now and it's like on a whole nother level. What is the concept behind the incarcerated to boss?
okay, the concept being at the beginning of the first show. I was fresh out of prison, so I was released in 2020. Toya was released, and so was Star. Star was on the show with us. And we all were working really hard to try to do something. So I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool to have a show that just showed people who are incarcerated doing, shining a positive light on what they're doing, instead of every time you look in the media, you see the negative. 3 people shot, he on trial, he in court looking crazy, she did
or came home and did the same thing instead of getting themselves together.
Instead of that being the norm, just to see people who are actually trying to do something.
So anybody could be a boss.
Anybody could be a boss. It's not necessarily that you have 50 employees or doing something like that. It's just that you went from being incarcerated
to doing something positive.
To doing something positive with yourself.
Okay.
So
that's what's up.
So like from my mentality, incarcerated to boss, like every time I used to get incarcerated, I used to think I have to come home and feel like I got to be right back bossy. You know what I'm saying? Because I cared about what the crowd thought. I got to get another car. I got to be Shannon again. You know what I'm saying? So my incarcerated used to be to boss. I got to get back out here and shine. I got to be right back on top. So now my thinking, incarcerated to boss, changed the way I think, So it ain't all about what you do, Change the way you think. So incarcerated to boss.
Very well put. Change the way you think.
And I had just to add this, I had a good opportunity from my professor to facilitate restorative justice conferences, because I go to UAM. So my professor, and it's a paid position. So I'm supposed to go to a conference and some training, and I am so excited because I used to be obsessed with restorative
We
justice.
did it in prison under the National Lifers Association.
What is it?
Restorative.
I just want to say, hey, Yolanda, hey, Michelle, love you too. I'm going to get in touch with y'all. We did restorative justice with a group of women from, what was the name of the church? Oh, I forgot. In Ann Arbor. And a lot of people weren't open to it, and then they started being more open to it. But it's kind of like a conversation that just kind of died down during COVID. But that's a good thing now to get back on that, because restorative justice includes everybody who is affected by a crime. And so you have the victim, you have the offender, you have other people involved, the prosecutor maybe, and stuff like that. And they come to they have some type of dialogue about stuff. And a lot of times people don't want somebody punished as hard as maybe the courts and the law prescribes. So you might get an offender and a person who's a victim get together and they talk about it, and then the victim tends to empathize more with that person, knowing maybe what their struggle was, what their background, not an excuse, but just to see a fuller picture and have a better understanding.
And you have to think about when a crime is committed and maybe someone dies, and the family that's left, and say I'm the offender and I just take a plea, I'm not saying nothing, so they never get to hear what happened. So many
why?
questions, and that can grow to make people bitter, and angry. And even if you are incarcerated and changing, it's no way that you can relay that to the family,
because there's no contact with victims, which is understandable, but
under regular circumstances, but
they never get to say I'm sorry or anything. Like she said, most places are plead out, so people don't get that opportunity.
But do you?
I'm sorry. Do families reach out after you are? Can the families contact you while you're in prison once the trial and say something? And are you allowed to respond back to them
with their permission? Yeah.
Okay.
That was my next question as well.
Yeah.
I've seen people whose victim or victim's family reached out because that person actual victim might be murdered or something, and they reach back out and they forgive them and they help them get out or write letters for them and stuff like that. I know one particular case was Unique, where this girl, she killed her abuser. And she got like 11 years or something, but the guy's mom ended up reaching out to her a few years into her prison sentence and was totally supportive and was saying, I know my son did this. She was like, I admit, I was in denial at first as far as wanting to help you but knowing what he did, but then she started acknowledging that he did things to her, and so she started to realize that, I was mad at you, but now I'm in a different place as far as how I'm looking at it. So she even wrote the parole board. She did a lot trying to get this girl home.
And Unique was one of the sweetest girls.
It's funny that when you are living a life of crime, and from whatever sector part that it is, I think you don't understand the victim side of it. You never even consider it. But when you actually start to look at it and you mature and you get some wisdom, you start to look at it differently because you start to understand that you've been a part of destroying something.
Right.
And it's kind of like, I can remember as a younger man when the police would say things to us, we would actually laugh at them like, what? But it's a real thing. There's a victim in every case.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if enough people commit enough crimes, then you have as many victims or more than the people who are committing the crimes. Because if you have a problem with somebody's family member, and that family member ends up dead or whatever, hospitalized or whatever, then he may be from a family of 30 people. So that's 30 people that's going to be affected by this person's demise.
I was at I heard about a public hearing. It was a lifer trying to get out, and they had to have a public hearing so the victim people get to speak at the hearing. And she said she had been in prison almost 30 years. So she said even the great-grandkids came who wasn't even born, but they was affected by this murder of their great-grandmother.
Absolutely.
Years later.
Absolutely.
And she was dead before they were even born. But they spoke like, we missed the whole experience because of what you did, what the lady had did. Yeah. So like he said, like, you just never know. It's just so much domino effect to how many people. Is. And I hate people now to call these, drug crimes or even alcohol, even a victimless crime or whatever. Like, it's not victimless.
It's not victimless.
I used to want to write.
Yeah.
Well, I used to want to write my son's person who had my son's father and several other people murdered. But then, I thought about it and was just like, what would I really say to her? Because a part of me was still kind of like bitter, but then I have to forgive because God forgive us. And I just...
What would you want to hear from her? What kind of questions would you
like?
think?
I want to know, like, why did you do it? Like, what was your purpose behind that? Like, I just look at it, my son, he never got a chance to meet his father because he got killed 22 days before my child was born. And he never got a chance to meet his dad due to somebody else's. She had 6 other people murdered as well. And I've seen her before when I went to go see Felicia. I'm not gonna say any names, but that moment that I seen her, a part of me like wanted to just say something, but then the other part of me was just like, well, what I had to say wasn't gonna be nice. But in that case, it's just like, after all the years, my son is 32 now. I don't know if she'll ever get out, but at the same token, I still have questions for her. Like, is she remorseful? Like,
I think I know. Do I know Felicia?
We both know.
Yeah,
Is
it's
she
just
remorseful?
something.
No.
Okay.
The funny thing, about these things that we're talking about is that
That's a cute picture.
once you're on the opposite side of, say, like, if when your kid or your loved one is fighting for their life to stay out of the system, then you're on the defense side. right?
Yeah.
But when somebody does something to you or one of your children, now you're on the prosecution side and you're rooting for that side. And what I found about that when my son was carjacked, I was like, wow, this feels really different.
Who jacked my brother?
It felt really different because, well, guess what? I was glad they did. It was a victory to me because they didn't kill your
him,
brother.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
But it's a strange feeling when you come from a certain lifestyle, when you have to sit on that other side. Because now you're talking about your son. You're not just talking about some dude you've been hustling with, or you talking about this person did something to my child. You know what I mean? And I thought that I wanted to see this young man punished until he actually got convicted. Then I didn't want to see him punished. Another side of me kicked in. Because now I'm looking at my son, who's a young man, the dude that carjacked him, and his friends, they were young dudes. And I knew that this judge was going to sock it to this boy if he didn't take, the plea.
Yeah.
Come to find out, deep into the case, I knew this boy's father. Been knowing him all my life. You know what I mean? But it had gotten so deep in that the judge had already made up in his mind, if you go to trial and you lose, I'm slamming you.
That's what they do.
And that's what they did. And I said, I felt that I left out of that courtroom feeling like everybody lost.
Yeah.
Everybody lost.
Yeah, that's kind of like how I feel about my son is going through the same thing right now. And I looked up the person who the case is, we're going to trial in May. And I looked at him and it's just like, what do I really want to say to him? You know what I mean? Like, what do I want to say to him? Because he looks troubled. He looks like he just need love. But at the same token, you could have took my son's life and my son defended himself. So if I get an opportunity to get up to speak, I want to tell him, long as my son is okay and this trial goes the way that I pray for it to go, I would like to see him get help. I mean, I think just throwing people in jail, sometimes you don't get the help that you really need because maybe you mentally ill.
Do you want to see this person come home?
Well, I don't want to necessarily see him come home. I want him to get help because this is something that he's clearly done before on several occasions. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not at liberty to just speak about it, but I think that he needs to get help before somebody. I wouldn't want to see, as a mother, I wouldn't want to see him because just looking at him, I wouldn't want to see him dead.
In your heart of hearts, though, I guess what I'm trying to ask you is that, do you feel that this person deserves a second opportunity at life?
Can it be earned?
No, not right now because of his history of what he's done. I think that maybe he needs to sit down for a minute to think about the things that he has done and the lives that he's are affecting with the things that he's done. Because again, like, your life can change in the blink of an eye. Like how I got the phone call about my son. Like, my son could have been murdered. The first thing I thought about was his dad when he got murdered, and it's sentimental to me because I just thank God that he's still here.
Yeah.
And so for somebody like that, I guess I look at it like, I feel sad for him because I don't know how his upbringing was to even cause him to be the way he is. But I do think he needs to sit down because this is a repetitive pattern for you.
Would you like to tell him that?
Yeah, I would.
Because that's like what restorative justice
that would
is
be my
about.
job.
We would sit down with that person, with an experienced mediator and the victim and the offender and whoever else. And that would be a conversation you can have with that person.
Yeah.
To come to some type of it's no, end to it, but just understanding more.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't talk, you can't get an
Right.
understanding.
Yeah.
And even though you
Right.
may feel that a person, not saying you personally, even though you may feel that a person is some kind of monster. It don't necessarily have to be that all the time, because people are a product of their environments.
I understand
And
that.
sometimes good people get caught up in bad things.
Yeah. And I
So-
just look at his face. So for me, like when I finally seen the person who did it, it's like me the first thing I thought was like, I couldn't even, like at first I hated him. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, you caused all of this for my family. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that's my son.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I looked at his face and just, it's like almost like I was looking into his soul, I felt he needed some help. That's how I looked at it. Like, it's more to it.
Is this if you were right in your assessment, and he in fact needed some help, and you were the person who could provide that help, would you be willing to do it?
I would, because I wouldn't want him to have another victim. I believe he's still young enough to start his life over, to do something productive with himself. And like you said, I believe hurt people. I don't know what his upbringing was like or what he had to endure as growing up, but you can't just go around doing the things, because one day if he don't stop, his mother's going to be burying him. And
Absolutely.
you know, and it'll be a sad situation, because I don't know if his parents are in his life or not, but I know somebody out there love him regardless to who it is. And
Maybe not.
well, maybe not.
babe.
That's
Maybe not. Yeah, that's true.
You
maybe
know,
not.
and that's the thing, and not to say that that's an excuse for poor behavior, but there are a lot of young men and young women in these streets that are seeking love.
Yeah.
I can tell you absolutely, me and my brother was looking for love all our young lives, and we found it in the streets. Sometimes it just happens that way. You know what I'm
what
saying?
you thought was love.
Or what we,
Yeah.
what we thought was love.
Right.
I think we all pretty much got caught up with what we thought was love at one point in time. Because I know I thought, like, being in my abusive relationship, I was married to my ex-husband. We were together for 15 years. And, you know, that goes back on the domestic violence part of it. You know, you were in hopes of a person that would change. You know, the sorries and the I won't do it again. And, you know, you kind of get caught up in that because, you know, when you got kids involved, it's almost like, you know, oh, okay, I'm going to give them another try. But sometimes some people just don't deserve another chance of certain situations.
Right.
Because I do believe that far as that part, if a man hits you, 9 times out of 10, they'll probably do it again. Or vice versa, a woman, because they just have those abusive ways, you know, like my ex, he apologized to me after the fact, you know what I'm saying, and I forgive him, and I forgave him because God forgives me. I'm not perfect, and I'm not always right, so I always have to keep that in mind to say, hey, you're not perfect, so, you know, you throwing rocks at a glass house, you have windows too. So I always keep that in my mind to say that, you know, it's always give a person a chance to correct their rights, their wrongs, if they want that. But if you're just going to continue to do the same old same, then yeah, at some point you need to be sat down. And I'd rather for a person to be sat down to be murdered, because you don't know what, maybe prison to change some people. You go to prison and you realize that this is not where I really want to be. I could have been out here and progressed so further if I just had. People just need help, and I just think
Prison is
people,
definitely structured, and prison definitely help people out. So
Do you think so, really?
yeah, no, so it helped me out.
But everybody different, you know. I think
it
some
saved a
people
lot of
get
lives.
worse. It seemed like I know a couple people that's been to prison, and it's just like they
Well,
need to be
yeah.
back in.
Every person is different, but I mean, the prison system in America is not really set up to reform people.
Rehabilitate? No, it's
Re-
not.
You know, you have to, like,
You have to want help.
these
You gotta
ladies, you
reform
have to
yourself.
make it up in your mind that you want to do better,
Yeah, it's
because
all
the
about
system
yourself.
is not designed to rehabilitate you.
Yeah, you got to
And that's what
rehabilitate yourself. That's what I
Yeah.
mean by the structure.
And I guess that's what I thought prison was like. I mean, you go to prison, yeah, you do your time. And so that goes to show that I know nothing about prison, because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you go to prison. I said I watch too many prison movies like Wentworth, because they always have programs for the women to do or get their. In my mind, I guess if I was in charge of prison, I would have programs to set people up. So when you do come home, you have a chance at a better life, or at least try to get yourself together. Like, okay, what is it that you like to do? Let's see if we can bring this program in, whether you like, because some people don't have directions to. You got people that's not in prison that don't even have direction to know what it is that they want to do.
But see, if you didn't have programs like Horatio's program, right? If you didn't have people doing that kind of work, these people wouldn't have anything.
Yeah.
Because you can look on the books to this day, and when slavery was abolished in this country, it's certain things that convicted people can still have done to them as a slave to this day. The statutes are still written that way.
Yep.
So-
Anybody got any questions? Y'all can tap into Vent Radio Plus on YouTube.
Yep.
Y'all can tune in right now. Yes, caller, you can tune in. It won't be on Instagram. Tune in to the Vent Radio.
And
Plus.
if you want to call in, we can
Call
open up
in.
the
You can
phone
also
lines.
call in right now. The phone lines.
248.
Y'all come on in. Y'all got any questions? We want to hear what y'all got to say. We want to hear y'all comments.
Let your mic go.
Y'all tune on in. Vent Radio Plus on YouTube, or y'all could call in.
248-429-7224. If you have any questions that you may want to, or maybe a comment that you want to just chime in,
That's 248
429
429
7224.
7224.
Okay.
Look at Tracy.
Compassionate release, the CARES Act.
Yeah.
The
It's all
first
about the
step.
strong mind, y'all. We
and
go to
back.
prison. No, they don't rehabilitate us. It's all about us. We rehabilitate ourselves. You got to want to change yourself, you know?
So do you, Mama Grizzly, I notice you use the word us. Do you still have a kinship to incarcerated people?
Yes, I do. I talk to peers. I still talk to my peers. A couple of them in the halfway house right now, working on some things. A couple of them still in prison.
That's kind of a hard relationship to just let go, isn't it? Once you've done so much time with people, aren't they kind of like your family?
Yeah, it's like my family. Yeah, yeah.
They do.
Absolutely.
They become closer than sometimes
Your family. Yeah, because you're spending all your time in there.
all your time. Wake up at
Mothers and everything.
And I guess you know those people in a
Thank
way
you. I appreciate that.
that
Trey,
you
Trey.
don't even get to know your own family members in.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the world, everybody's doing this, everybody's going their way, got a job, got children. But in prison, I mean, you get to find out things about people, and nobody has anything. Everybody's on a level playing field. You know what I'm saying? So you get to know things that you don't get to necessarily find out about your own brother, your own sister.
Yeah, I believe that. Because I told my sister, like, when she first came home, she told somebody that, but I did tell her, I said, I don't think I know you all the way.
No, you were saying like, sit down, shut up.
Thank you.
No, I wasn't. But no, seriously, she has changed. She's definitely changed from before she went in. Like, you know, I have to get to re-know her all over again too. She's been gone. Other than us talking over the phone, I mean, it's ways about her that is totally different from when she was out from before. I can definitely say that.
Yeah, it's a process, you know.
You know, and
this
it's we
world.
both getting to know each other. I mean, she's been gone 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just like Felicia. Me and Felicia, she been gone 17 years. I mean, we was in our early 20s. You know what I'm saying? Having fun, living life. You know, then that just changed and somebody's just out your life.
Somebody made a statement and said the system was built to keep us stuck. It was never built to help us or to rehabilitate us.
Tracy from the North End.
Okay,
But
Tracy
I'm
from the
actually
North
from
End.
Northwest Detroit. But yeah, I definitely was on the North
I thought
End.
they
Silver
was
spoon, girl.
Over there on Mac and Gray with Glenn.
Oh man! Oh
I ran
Lord!
into him when he was collecting.
No, she didn't say Mac and Gray.
Yeah, about
did the
5
rest of it.
traps
Been a
on
struggle,
one
but
block.
this too
she
shall
say,
pass. Miss Bennett
going.
Park. Somebody said Miss Bennett Park.
Yes, Miss
Wow.
Bennett Park Rangers.
But
Love
you know,
y'all on the North End.
even I can remember when my brother came home, and he was a very young man. He came home from the penitentiary, and he was much quicker to fight. You know, when he left as a teenager, he was mild mannered. But when he got out of the penitentiary the first time, it was like the things we used to say to one another as little boys couldn't say to him anymore, because he'd be ready to split your
Now,
head
see, for
off.
the men, it's different for the men. That's like for my sons. I had 2 sons that went to the penitentiary. And for them, I believe it was rough. So I can't say what they experienced or went through. And shout out to my son. Shout out to T. Grizzly. You know, I know he did 3 years incarcerated. I don't know what he experienced while he was locked up, but I know it changed him. You know.
Must
I
have been for the
believe,
best.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what he experienced in there, but I know he told me it was hard. It wasn't easy for the men. And also my youngest son Marcellus. You know,
he
like he had
smart.
to even join.
It's much more
It's
violent.
different. When I used to write letters to my youngest son, Baby Grizzly, even joining gangs, he had to join some type of, you know, you got to get in groups. So I was very upset at that, because that's my child, and he went in there at the age of 17. Mind you, I didn't want him joining no gangs and none of that type of stuff, because I'm fearing for my child. He said mine's not like that. It's different than a female's prison. So with that being said and done, I don't know what the men go through in there. So it's different. It's very difficult, very dangerous, you know. So we have to pray for our children, our young boys that's going to these penitentiaries. We just have to pray for hopefully that the adult men that's in the state penitentiaries, that they show leadership and guidance, you know, while these young boys is going into these facilities.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it's more dangerous to be in prison than it is out on the streets?
Yeah, because you closed in. You can't go nowhere. Out here, at least you could flee. In there, you can't. And they could come catch you in your cell. You know, they could sit there and plot on you. You cannot escape. You know, it's a
I
difference.
feel safer.
In prison.
You felt
Well, it
safer in
depends.
prison
It
than you
depends,
did
like I
on the
said.
street?
Because it was a women's prison, like she said.
Yeah, like I said,
we have
see, the
a fight
women,
once a month or
see,
something
women's
like that.
different. I'm
Women's
talking about the
different.
men. Men is totally different than
Yeah,
women.
it's different.
Totally different, you know.
Yeah.
So we can't say us women, we lay back, chill. You know, the women tell. You know what I'm saying? Men, you tell something go happen. You know what I'm saying? Like women, you telling the officers, oh, you know what I'm saying? We getting locked down. It's different, totally different.
And I guess as it should be. I mean, because at the end of the day, men are men and women are
Men
women.
get what they want. Like they run the facilities.
Yeah,
Women,
'cause
they tell on everything.
Our cousin,
like, you know,
she used to work for a men facility, and one day she was saying that she had to get her life insurance together for her for the job, and I was like, for what? Why? She was like, yeah, because she was like, and she worked in the Tasha, our cousin. Remember, she used to work Uncle Joe's daughter.
oh, okay.
So she
Uncle
said
Joe from
that.
Hooterville?
What? Listen, she told me that if the prisoners threaten you, like a man prisoner, if they threaten you, you better take it serious and don't come to work. So you never know what may happen inside those prisons. So
Inside the male prison.
the male the male
Yeah.
prison. So that's what she said. Like if they threaten you, you know, you don't come to work. So I'm glad she's not working there anymore, because I first off, I don't think a lady should be working at a male facility.
You don't?
No, because I mean, if it's rowdy and you got murderers and stuff like that, a woman cannot.
But I thought women
Handle
wanted equality.
I mean, equality if you
No, you
working
ain't met
like
nobody
in-
like my DTS Miss Henry. She don't play that.
Well, I just that's my personal
She can
opinion.
control the men, and they like it. You know.
And
That's just
She
personal.
control them and they
got it,
like
yes.
it.
She
you
don't play
assuming
no
those
games. She
traditional
shuts
type
stuff down.
of characteristics, because there's
Right.
some really bitch ass COs that are men, and there's some really strong women that
Yeah.
are COs that are women. So you can't even put them in certain lanes just because they
You gotta
whatever
demand
gender
respect.
they are.
Period.
Yeah, because
I guess I'm just looking at it on it. So if they attack you more than one, you get what I'm saying? That's the part of it I'm looking like you earn respect. I get that part, but I'm talking about far as if you get into a fight, far as you holding your own.
That's
with
men or women. That can happen to a guy if that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen to a guy,
so
but it's
than
more like, come on now. I'm just saying the strength of them. Most women, I don't care how strong you are. Most women,
well, that's
they
the
don't
case.
have
They got
strength of
men that's transgenders and they in a women's prison.
Yeah.
So what's the
really?
difference? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does that
And
work?
they beat up the girls.
It works and it's illegal, but it works. Yeah, and they beat up the girls, so that's dangerous. For
Trans people beat the girls up.
Yeah,
I mean, they
got more
stronger.
strength.
If
Yeah.
you got
Used to be a
a man,
Yeah.
you got a female that used to be a man, and they're in there with a female. Of course, you go outwin us. Her arms are strong. The bones was made different because she was
Yeah.
made to be a man.
And they have them.
Boy, that's
So if her
that's
punch
the
about to
next
swing at
topic,
me,
I guess.
yeah, and that's not fair because like if you got goodie bags and we going outside to play sports, you know what I'm saying? Her arm about to throw this ball further, so she winning all the bags. That's not cool. Because she used to be a man.
Specific experience.
Right. So I'm looking. I used to stare at stuff like that. Like hold on, they used to be a man. Of course, she about to keep winning. She
Right,
hitting that
right.
ball further than us because
Did you,
that was
did
a
you
whole
actually
man.
say? Did you actually say used to be a man?
Used to be a man, now as a woman.
So you viewed her as a woman?
yeah.
I viewed it as a man. Looking at them legs, okay, and them shoulders. That was a
And
man.
that back.
Yeah, and then the way they threw the ball and stuff. Nah, that wasn't
So
cool.
let me.
And them feet.
I mean, I know we got to get out of here. But
Yeah, we about to wrap it up.
yeah, because this could get deep.
this is a very interesting topic. So transgender women in the women's facility, are they housed with the ladies, or do they have their own?
Nah,
unit?
they house with the ladies, and
They
that's
mostly
that's
housed.
not supposed. Shouldn't even be.
So now,
Because even looking at our bodies, that's not supposed to be. Because you was really born a man. So why is you even in the shower looking at me? You know
so
what I'm saying?
even in the last few years,
Cause she ain't interested in. She ain't interested.
It don't
in
matter
you.
whether she interested in me because whether you're interested in me or not, you still was a man.
So gender assignment in the women's
You know what I'm
prison is
saying?
going
So
down
really, it's
too
illegal
because
right
they
now.
have the women who want to become men and they get shots. They legally have to pay for these people's reassignments. So you got women
The
now.
state?
Yeah,
Yes.
the state. It's a policy
They have
law.
to-
They
Yes.
have to
Yeah.
pay for any gender
Wow.
assignment. If I want to identify however I want to, if I wanted to identify masculine as a man, then they would have to pay for that reassignment.
For
So
me,
you
really?
got girls
boxers,
now
it gets
taking
deep.
testosterone shots.
Yeah, they get the
and
shots to get hairs on
Yeah.
their face,
Have
to
beards.
get their
Their
breasts
breast,
to get
yeah,
flatter.
they
you know,
get-
Come on,
they don't-
she
the
rolling her
relationship, all
eyes.
That, huh?
the feds, the government,
It's
yeah.
a lot.
They wasting all this government money on stuff like that.
Oh.
instead
Let's
of stuff
save
that
some
we
of it
need,
for the
like,
next show.
yeah.
'cause-
So
wow.
Okay,
and
well,
food and
All right.
we're gonna wrap up
yes.
today,
Yeah.
and we'll be back not
All
next
right.
week, but the week
So,
after that, every other week.
I got my
Y'all-
shout
y'all
out
stay
list.
tuned.
Hold up.
this is to be continued. We're incarcerated to boss. If y'all have any questions, y'all tune in. We'll
Okay.
be
Tracy
back
gotta
this
do her
time of
shout
year.
out.
I gotta do my shout outs.
Oh yeah,
What's
let me
up,
shout out
Eastside
my nail tech. Miss Detroit, my nail tech. I wanted to shout her out.
Okay, Robin, listen, I have a list, so you want
You
to
know,
go on
these shout out people should be potential. If they got businesses, they should be clients. Y'all know that, right?
Okay, these people helped me get out of prison.
No, well, you shout them out. Tracy.
Robin the Cinder Boy, Rick, White Boy Rick, Michelle Wershey, Representative House Tanisha Yancey, her assistant Aisha, Michigan Governor Whitmer, Attorney Stuart Friedman, the Michigan Parole Board, and just all my supporters and friends and family. Thank you.
I want to shout out Nicole Smith for helping me get out of prison. You the truth, public defender. You know, shout out to Judge Tarno, federal judge. You the truth, lenient judge.
Period.
Was that a Michigan federal judge? Is he in the Eastern
Yeah,
District?
Yeah, the Eastern District. Yeah,
Wow.
Judge Tarno.
I ain't never heard nobody
Yeah.
say they was.
Yeah, he's a federal judge and he's very lenient.
Wow.
Yeah, he shut the prosecutor down. Hold on, stop right there. When they tried to come for me, like you ain't even looking at what she did. Good, you know what I'm saying? And the lawyer who had me, he was like, "Prison is already a harsh sentence." You know what I'm saying? Shut them down. Let me out of there. Period.
Okay, join us in 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Shout
2
out
weeks.
to
2
Mo
weeks.
Kelly. 313
What about the
Believe.
grand opening?
Oh yeah.
Oh, my boutique will be opening, grand opening, March the 16th. It'll be posted soft opening March the 12th.
And the name of the boutique?
My personal stylist.
Yes.
All right.
And she will be dressing me
I will be sponsoring dressing.
for events
Every
coming
event.
up.
I seen your mom's pictures. They were
Yeah.
hot.
The next event, y'all, that I will be at, not event, but I'm gonna have an interview with Rhonda Walker from WDIV in a couple of weeks, and Felicia will be dressing me.
All right.
Yes.
And it was a really productive meeting I had with her today, so I really, really look forward to that.
Okay.
All right, ladies.
Going to Mama Grizzly Beats with Loose Cannon.
Yeah.
Loose Cannon. You know, radio.net. Y'all stay tuned.
All right. Check out Tamiella Vine Unique Creations for all your prom needs, birthday, events, whatever.
All the events.
Right.
Are you doing my grand
Shout out
opening?
to all the artists. Y'all DM me, you know what I'm
When
saying?
is it?
March, my birthday.
Get busy.
What's that day fall on?
Wednesday.
Life fits all its losses. Incarcerated bosses. Learn from mistakes, then we all win. Now life looking flawless. We got Felicia, Latoya, and Star Austin. Incarcerated bosses. Learn from mistakes, but we gon' win. We live on Vin Radio.